Good afternoon, everyone. Let us start. Remember, we have been learning biogeochemical cycles, and today we shall discuss about the oxygen cycle and the nitrogen cycle. Now I shall present my screen. The oxygen cycle. Yesterday we talked about the carbon cycle, and this cycle, the oxygen cycle, is also related with the carbon cycle. So let us read. We know that oxygen is the main byproduct of photosynthesis, and it is involved in the oxidation of carbohydrates with the release of energy. Okay, so in the photosynthesis process, there is oxidation of carbohydrates with the release of energy, carbon dioxide and water. And the cycling of oxygen is slightly a complex process. Oxygen occurs in a number of chemical forms and combinations, and oxygen combines with nitrogen to form nitrates, and with many other minerals and elements to form various oxides such as iron oxide, aluminum oxide, and others. Okay, so oxygen occurs in a number of chemical forms and combinations, and it combines with nitrogen to form nitrates. Likewise, many other minerals and elements combine to form various oxides such as iron oxide, for example, then aluminum oxide and others. And much of the oxygen is produced from the decomposition of water molecules by sunlight, in the photosynthesis process, and is released in the atmosphere through the transpiration and the respiration process of the plants. About this we have already learned. In the photosynthesis process, with the help of the sunlight, plant uses carbon dioxide, and releases this oxygen through transpiration and the respiration process of the plants. And here we have a very simple diagram showing this oxygen cycle. And see, here we have a plant, a tree, and during the photosynthesis process, carbon dioxide is taken by the plants, and oxygen is released as given here. So in this way we have this cycle. So in this case also human beings are not involved, as explained in the book. When human beings are involved, it is a very complex process, but here we are dealing only with the natural cycle, as given here. And we have this one more diagram showing this oxygen cycle. First, see here, it is also here, so it forms a cycle. Then we have another. So this is another diagram showing oxygen cycle. So let us read the story. And see here, as given in the book also, most available, as written here, most available oxygen comes from photosynthesis. Most available oxygen comes from photosynthesis by plants on land and by the phytoplankton on the ocean surface. Just as given here. I see here. These are microscopic organisms, okay, living in the ocean. Phytoplankton floating on the surface of the ocean. Okay. Then here again we have plants. Okay, we have plants on the surface of the earth, and we have learned that in the photosynthesis process, oxygen, okay, is released by the plants after taking into this carbon dioxide, and most oxygen is stored in the oxide minerals as mentioned in the book. Okay, most oxygen is stored in the oxide minerals of the earth crust and the mantle called the lithosphere, but is bound to rocks and unavailable for use. That means the oxygen stored in the rocks, okay, are unavailable for use, cannot be used directly. Okay, then see here in the oceans also oxygen is used by plants, okay, animals, bacteria, then fire. So when we burn, okay, then oxygen is also used. And in decomposition process, even in the rusting of the metal, that is in the oxidation process, also oxygen is used. Okay, so here oxygen is used by animal, plants, bacteria, then by fire, decomposition process, and even in rusting of the metals in the oxidation process also oxygen is used. And some oxygen is met in the atmosphere when sunlight breaks down water. Okay, so some oxygens are also met when water is broken down by the sunlight. Okay, that one about water, I think this is a combination of this hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so when it is broken down, when this water is broken down, then oxygen is also met. Okay, so in this way we have a cycle in the atmosphere. Okay, and say plants take in carbon dioxide and releases oxygen, and this oxygen is again utilized by the plants, animals, okay, bacteria, then in burning, then in oxidation process. So in this way we have a cycle, what we call oxygen cycle, and it is mainly related with the this carbon cycle. Okay, clear or not? Any question from your side?
Clear, sir.
Okay, remember it is related with the this photosynthesis process. Okay, as given here, oxygen is the main byproduct of photosynthesis. And next we have this nitrogen cycle, and nitrogen is a major constituent of the atmosphere, comprising about 78% of the atmosphere. Okay, so we have already learned that nitrogen is the major constituent of the atmosphere, comprising 78% of the total volume of atmospheric gases. And we must know that nitrogen is also an essential constituent of different organic compounds, such as the amino acids, then nucleic acids, proteins, then vitamins and pigments. Okay, so nitrogen is also an essential constituent of different organic compounds, such as amino acid. Amino, you know, is a group of organic compounds of nitrogen, okay, derived from ammonia. And amino acids are organic compounds that combine to form proteins. And we know that amino acid and proteins are the building blocks of life, very important. And about this nucleic acid, so this is a naturally occurring chemical compound that is capable of being broken down to yield phosphoric acid, sugars, and a mixture of organic bases. Okay, and nucleic acids are the main information carrying molecules of the cell, and by directing the process of protein synthesis, these nucleic acids determine the inherited characteristics of every living things. Okay, so this is the main function of nucleic acids, and it is derived from nitrogen. And the pigments, pigments, any substance whose presence in plants or animal tissues produces a characteristic color. Means pigments, okay, it produces color of something, and all these are derived from nitrogen. And say you must know that only few types of these organisms, like certain species of soil bacteria and blue-green algae, are capable of utilizing nitrogen directly in its gaseous form. We know that 78% of the atmosphere is constituted by the nitrogen, but only few types of organisms like soil bacteria and blue-green algae are capable of utilizing this nitrogen directly in its gaseous form. And generally nitrogen is usable, okay, only after it is fixed, including human beings. Okay, plants, human beings, animals can use nitrogen only it is fixed. Only soil bacteria and some blue-green algae are capable of utilizing it directly. 90% of fixed nitrogen is biological. So most of the fixation of nitrogen from the atmosphere into the soil is done by this biological process. And the principal source of free nitrogen is the action of the soil microorganisms and the associated plant roots on the atmosphere. Atmospheric nitrogen found in the pores spaces of soil. And nitrogen can also be fixed in the atmosphere by this lightning and cosmic radiation. So this is about the fixation of nitrogen. Nitrogen is fixed, okay, as you will see here. Nitrogen is fixed from the atmosphere into the soil by lightning process. Okay, so another one is the biological process. See here, nitrogen is also fixed by the bacteria found in the nodules of the roots. Okay, see here, these are the nodules. So these are the nodules of roots, and some bacteria are found in the root nodules, and okay, and this bacteria fix the free nitrogen from the atmosphere into the soil, as given here. See, nitrogen fixing bacteria living in legume root nodules. Rhizobium, for example, is a bacteria that is present in the root nodules of legumes, leguminous crops like pea, beans. Okay, and this bacteria fix the free nitrogen from the atmosphere into the soil. And in the oceans, okay, some marine animals can fix it. In the oceans also, some marine animals can fix the free nitrogen. Okay, and after atmospheric nitrogen has been fixed into an available form, green plants assimilate it. So after, okay, see here, by the lightning process and by the biological process, nitrogen is fixed into the soil. After that, okay, only after fixing the free nitrogen, that is the atmospheric nitrogen, into the soil, plants assimilate it. Okay, plants assimilate it. Assimilation means absorption or ingestion. Okay, the nitrogen is ingested, absorbed by the plants after fixing, okay, by the bacteria and the lightning process. Then herbivorous animals feeding on plants in turn consume some of it. So after assimilating the nitrogen by the green plants, then herbivorous animals, say for example rabbit, then other cow, then others goats, okay, herbivorous animals then will eat this nitrogen. Okay, herbivorous animals feeding on plant in turn consume some of the nitrogen. Then dead plants and animals, then excretion of these nitrogenous washes are converted into nitrites by the action of bacteria present in the soil. Then after that, what happened? So these animals will be dead, then these plants will be decomposed. Okay, see here, these animals and the plants will be decomposed by the action of bacteria, and because of that this nitrogen found, okay, here in the animals and the plants, and from the excretion of nitrogenous washes, means dung, okay, cow dung for example, are converted into nitrites by the action of bacteria. That means these plants and animals after that, okay, will be decomposed, and the bacteria will convert the nitrogen into nitrites. Okay, and some bacteria can even convert nitrite into nitrates. We have some more bacteria which can convert nitrite into nitrates, and that can be used again by the green plants. Okay, we have some more bacteria. Okay, we have some more bacteria here some more bacteria which can convert this nitrate, okay, nitrite into these nitrates. Okay, and there are still other types of bacteria capable of these converting nitrates into free nitrogen, and a process known as denitrification. And still we have some more bacteria. Okay, still we have some more bacteria which can convert the nitrates into these free atmospheric nitrogen. So in this way it completes a cycle. Okay, and this is what we call nitrogen cycle. And the process of converting nitrates into free nitrogen is known as denitrification, as given here. Okay, so this is a very simple diagram showing nitrogen cycle, and here this is a detailed one, and this one is a detailed one. So let me repeat. First of all, because of the this lightning process and by the bacteria found in the nodules of legumes, okay, nitrogen from the free atmosphere is fixed into the soil. Then after that it is available for absorption by the plants. Okay, then these plants will be eaten by the herbivorous animals, and this herbivorous animal will release waste material as dung, okay, as excreta. As well as when the animals are dead, when plants are dead, then this will be decomposed. Okay, then again by bacteria, okay, these dead bodies and these excreta, that means the nitrogen found in these dead bodies and the excreta will convert into nitrites. And there are some more bacteria which can convert again nitrite into nitrates, and still we have some more other bacteria which can convert nitrate into free atmospheric nitrogen. So in this way the nitrogen cycle is complete. Okay. Clear or not? Any question? Still we have one more diagram. So this is a very simple one. Okay, here we have lightning process, and here this, let me magnify. Okay, lightning process here. Then nitrogen is fixed by bacteria in the root nodules, Okay, then we get nitrogen compounds, and this will be again absorbed by these plants. Then these herbivores will eat the plants. Then this animal will release dung, okay, excreta, and they may be decayed, and plants also may be decayed after the death. Okay, then because of the action of the bacteria, then again free nitrogen will be released into the atmosphere. So in this way we have a cycle. Clear or not? Any question?
Clear, sir.
Then the last part we have other mineral cycles. Okay, so we have so many other material cycles. Let us have a glance. And other than carbon, then oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen being the principal geochemical components of the biosphere, many other minerals also occur as a critical nutrients for plant and animal life. Okay, in addition to carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen, we have other minerals, and which are very useful, which are very essential for the plant and animal life. And these mineral elements required by living organisms are obtained initially from the inorganic sources such as phosphorus, sulfur, calcium, potassium. Okay, say human beings, animals, and plants also require phosphorus, sulfur, calcium, potassium, and we get it. Okay, we get it from the inorganic sources. That means from the surface of the earth. Okay, and they usually occur in the salt dissolved in the soil, water, lakes, streams, or seas. So these minerals, maybe sulfur, maybe phosphorus, calcium, potassium, all these are found in the soil. Okay, dissolve in water or lakes, okay, or in the streams or the seas. And mineral salts, okay, come directly from the earth crust by weathering, where the soluble salt enter the cycle, eventually reaching the sea. Mineral salt, for example. Okay, we have different types of salt. For example, potassium, calcium, all these are different types of salt. Okay, and we have the sodium also. So all these soluble salts, okay, come directly from the earth crust by weathering. Means these are also found in the rocks. Okay, and by the weathering process, after breaking down the rocks, we get these mineral salts. And whereas some of the soluble salts also enter. Okay, see, the salt found in the rock will be dissolved by the rainwater, and this will be carried down by the rivers, and eventually this salt will reach the sea. And other salts are returned to the earth surface through the sedimentation. Okay, some of the salts will return to the earth surface through the sedimentation, means deposition. Then after weathering, okay, they again will enter the cycle. And all living organisms fulfill their mineral requirements from the mineral solutions in their environments. Then other animals receive these mineral needs from the plants and animals. For example, human beings and animals are receiving these important minerals from the plants and from the animals after eating it. Okay, and after the death of living organism, including human beings and animals, the minerals are returned to the soil and the water through the decomposition and the flow. So in this way, we consume minerals, okay, mineral salts from the surface of the earth. Again, when we are dead, we return all the minerals back to the earth. So in this way, we have a cycle. Okay, we have a mineral cycle. And just see here, here we have these rocks. Okay, and C is here, and see here, this rock may contain salts, and this will be withered, and when there is rainfall, then the salt will be carried downward towards the sea, or some of the salt will be absorbed, and the plants will utilize it, and animals will eat the plant. Human beings will eat the plants and animals. Okay, and see, and when we are dead, and we may return the minerals back to the earth. And one more thing is that here some salt may be deposited here on the bed of the sea, and because of this upliftment process, the ocean surface may also uplift, or so this may form a rock, okay, and may be exposed on the surface because of this geomorphic process, and this rock will be withered again, and okay, again we'll get the salt available for consumption. So in this way we have a cycle, and here we have some examples of this mineral cycle. So for example, this is a diagram showing this phosphorus cycle. Okay, all those we have read earlier is mentioned here. See here, in the mining areas we get phosphate, then some of these phosphate will be dissolved by this running water, okay, by the rivers and the streams, and then here it will be utilized. Okay, see, it will be again utilized by the trees and the plants, and here also, and some of the phosphorus will reach the sea, and this will be utilized by these marine animals. Some will be absorbed by the soil and will be utilized by the crops, and we will eat it, and we get it, and when we are dead, okay, then again we are returning the nutrients back to the earth. And likewise we have the sulfur cycle also. Okay, the same process is here, mining areas, and here also from the volcanic eruption we get sulfur, then okay, see, plant attack, then some of it will reach the sea, and likewise. Okay, so in this way we have this sulfur cycle. Clear or not? Any question from your side?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then let us stop here for today. Thank you very much for joining my class.